Let's build this grid inside of CSS. As you can see, the grid is also responsive. As the place shrinks, the images also adapt to the space available. And creating this grid is really super easy. First of all, we're going to create a div with the class of container, and inside of this div, we create another div with the class of gallery. Inside of this div, we'll now define or link all of the images we want to use, and I've already prepared 8 images for this purpose. So we're going to start with image 1 and we'll duplicate this image a couple of times. Now we'll say we want to have image 2, image 3, image 4, image 5, image 6, image 7 and image 8. So we have 8 images right now. And now we want to go into CSS to start styling our container and our gallery. Our container should have a width of 80% and a margin of auto, which basically centers our container. So now our gallery is basically in the center of the screen, but it doesn't really work, as you can see, and that has a couple of reasons. First of all, we need to target our gallery and say that we want to use display of grid to define that we want to use a grid, and we need to define how many columns we want to use. And here we are going to use repeat because we want to repeat some columns a certain amount of times, and in our case we are going to say auto fit, which will auto fit the columns, and we want to use minmax, which defines a min and a max value for the columns. So we want to say the minimum value for the width is 250 pixels and the maximum value is 1 fraction of the available space. And as you can see, if I'm going to maximize the window, we basically have this grid which looks terrible right now. So let's say our images inside of our gallery have a width of 100% and a aspect ratio of 1:1. So we basically get those squares. Now we also want to add a gap to our gallery of 30 pixels, for example, and now we have this gap. And now we could also try to maximize our window, and we basically have this gallery. So maybe instead of 80%, let's use 60%, so it looks cool when we have a full screen like this. So 4 images below 4 images, if you want to say so. One thing you can also add is use an object fit of cover, because right now you see our image is kind of stretched right here, and once we use object fit of cover, it is going to cover the image and not stretch the images, and like this, images look pretty cool. And this is all you need to know to create a cool gallery inside of CSS and HTML.